Welcome to Math with Mrs. Bibb. Please forgive me. Allergies seem to be taking the best of my voice today, so I will do my best to try to speak clearly so that you can understand our lesson. Make sure you fill in your table of contents for the week and do your weekly warm-up. Please reach out to me with questions if you have any. You're going to need Student Journal 108 examples. Okay, so looking at our two words here to define. It says, in your own words, write the meaning of each vocabulary term. So parallel lines. What are parallel lines? Lines that never intersect. That's what I would write. If you have some different words you want to put, you are welcome to do so. What are perpendicular lines? To me, they are lines that intersect to form a right angle. Parallel lines, of course, like we said, will never intersect. And you need to remember all vertical lines are parallel. The main thing from this lesson that you need to know about parallel lines is they have the same slope. So when you write the equation of two lines that are parallel and you're given different information, you need to remember that they have the same slope. And then for perpendicular lines, of course, intersect to form a right angle, but the main thing you need to remember is their slopes are negative reciprocals. I've also seen teachers say it this way: they're opposite reciprocals of each other. So just to recap, parallel lines have the same slope. Perpendicular lines have the opposite reciprocal slopes. They intersect to form a right angle. We're going to do some practice, and you'll need a piece of notebook paper to do that practice. Some of these questions you'll find familiar because you've done them in middle school before, but you may not have done the concept of parallel and perpendicular lines and the slope involving those. And then you're going to need some notebook paper for the remainder of the Question 1. What would the slope be of the line that is parallel to y equals 3x plus 4? Well, first of all, the slope of this line is 3. Parallel slope would be the same, so that slope would be 3. Perpendicular slope would be the negative reciprocal or opposite reciprocal. 3 is a positive. 3 is a positive number. So what's the opposite of a positive number? And that would be a negative number. And then the reciprocal means to switch the numerator and the denominator. 3 over 1. And if you switch the numerator and the denominator, you'll have 1 over 3. So the perpendicular slope would be negative 1/3. Please do write the problem and then write our answers here and write the work that we used to get to the answer. Question 2, same sort of question. First thing I do is name the slope of this line. The slope is 3/5. Then to name the parallel slope, that would be the same as the slope that's given. which would be 3/5, and the perpendicular slope would be the negative or opposite reciprocal. This is a positive fraction, so my slope is going to be a negative. I'll write that in just a moment. And the reciprocal of 3/5 is 5/3. So negative 5/3 would be the slope of the line that's perpendicular to y equals 3/5 x minus 7. Number 3, we change gears just a little bit. It says write the equation of the line that is parallel to y equals 2/5 x minus 3 and passes through 5, negative 2. Now, next, the one thing I want to tell you is make sure that you're going to use point slope form when you do this. So I need y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. I want to remind you that you're not going to substitute anything in for this value or this value. You will substitute y1 from here, and the slope from here, we'll get the slope here in just a moment, and then the x value from here. Now let's talk about the slope. The slope of this line is 2/5. And my keyword for this problem is parallel. Parallel slope. So we have to remember, is it same or is it the negative reciprocal? And hopefully you remember that parallel slopes have the same slope. So my parallel slope would be 2/5 as well. Now let's fill in what we know. We do not put anything in place of the green y or the green x. So y minus y1 is the yellow highlighted number, y minus negative 2. You may go ahead and put y plus 2 if you would like, equals the slope of 2/5. The x remains there, minus x1, which is 5. Now we're going to distribute y plus 2 equals 2/5 times x, which will be 2/5 x, and then 2/5 times negative 5, which will be negative 10/5. I'll write that out so you can see. 2/5 times x, and then when you do 2/5 times negative 5, you put a 1 under the 5 to make a fraction, and you get negative 10 over 5, and that would reduce to negative 2. So I would have minus 2. Then the next thing that I would do is to get my y value alone. How do I get y alone? I subtract 2 from both sides. So my equation will be y equals 2/5 x minus 4. Number 4, write the equation of the line that is perpendicular to y equals 1/3 x plus 4 and passes through 3, negative 2. I need the slope from this equation, y equals 1/3 x, just 1/3 is my slope, y equals 1/3. Then I need to remember that I'm trying to find the perpendicular slope, perpendicular. So my perpendicular slope would be the negative, this is a positive, so I'd put a negative reciprocal of these two. So negative 3/1, or just negative 3, is the slope that I'm going to use. So here's my slope I'm going to use. I'm going to use this x, and I apologize for not being consistent using the same colors again. It's okay. So y minus y1 equals m times the quantity x minus x1. y minus -2 equals, the slope is -3 times x minus 3. Distribute your -3. Y plus 2 equals -3x plus 9. Subtract 2 from both sides to get your y alone. Y equals -3x plus 7. That's the equation of the line that's perpendicular to y equals 1/3 x plus 4 and passes through 3, -2. For number 5, we're going to find the slope of each of those pairs of ordered pairs, and then we'll compare those slopes to find which ones are parallel. So I'm going to highlight first. Okay, so for line A, I'm going to use the formula m equals y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. The slope would be 2 subtract -1. Remember, I'll write this up here really quickly. x1, y1, first x, first y. x2, y2, second x, second y. x2 minus x1, 2 minus -4. So the slope would be 3/6, which would be 1/2. Line B, find the slope. The slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. 4/10, which they're both divisible by 2. So m equals 2/5. For the next ordered pairs, my slope is going to be -1 minus -3 divided by 2 minus -2. -1 minus -3 is +2. 2 minus -2 is +4. And that leaves a slope of 1/2. So to be parallel, the slopes have to be the same. And which two lines have the same slope? That would be line A and line C. That would be the answer to the first one, line A and line C. For the next one, we want to get these in slope-intercept form so that we can find out their slope. Okay, so for the first one, to get it in slope-intercept form, I'm going to swap these two places. I'm going to add 3y and subtract 4x. I'm going to divide everything by 3. So y equals -4/3 x plus 3. For line B, I'm going to just divide by 8. So y is going to equal -6/8 reduces to -3/4. 16/8 reduces to 2. And then for line C, I'm going to divide by 4. Y is going to equal -3/4 x plus 9/4. Now, which lines are parallel? Parallel means they have to have the same slope, and the slope for the second one is -3/4. The slope for the last one is -3/4. So then I would say line B and C have the same slope. that's it. I think I just did them all because we're here to the weekly practice. So complete your weekly practice. I don't think you have book work to do, just this work on this page. And then your assessment I will put in Google Classroom for you, and there's your weekly checklist to make sure that you got everything completed. I hope you have a great week. Please send me questions if you need to.